This might seem backwards, but it's the key to unlocking a woman's genuine desire. For generations, we've been taught a fairy tale about how to win a woman over. Your parents, the movies, your own past heartbreaks, they all got it wrong. Centuries ago, a legendary strategist observed the women of power in royal courts and discovered a secret so volatile, he dared not write it down. Today, I'm revealing 9 specific ways to carry yourself that spark deep attraction. No chasing, no pleading, no lost self-worth. Most men beg for a glance. You won't. You'll become the glance they seek. And the final method is the ultimate game changer, but only if you've mastered the rest. That's why you must watch this entire video. Let's start. Live like you have other possibilities. This is a critical error, and most guys are blind to it. They approach a single woman as if she's their only hope, and that quiet attitude erodes interest completely. You must operate from a place of choice, even if your current options feel limited. This isn't about deception or mind games. It's a fundamental shift in your self-perception. You no longer require her validation to feel whole. When you know your own worth, your actions transform automatically. Women don't just listen to your promises. They watch your behavior, especially under stress. They sense whether you're centered or frantic, assured or clingy. A man who seems readily available appears weak. A man who embodies abundance feels powerful. Her primal mind is always asking, if I'm his entire focus, why isn't anyone else competing for him? If he has no other takers, what does that say about his value? This isn't a conscious critique. It's instinctive. Think about anything people buy. If it's always discounted and ignored, it seems cheap. But if there's a waiting list, it feels premium and wanted. So, how do you project this without being dismissive? First, keep your important commitments early on. If you have a workout, a work deadline, or friends waiting, honor those plans. Simply state, I've got something already scheduled that day, but I'm free on Thursday. This demonstrates your life has momentum and order. Second, don't feel compelled to answer every text immediately. Not as a tactic, but because you're genuinely occupied. When you reply, be engaged and positive, but never sheepish for having a life. Over-apologizing suggests you feel bad for being a person with priorities. Third, avoid oversharing your deepest fears and history too soon. Dumping your emotional burden doesn't build intimacy. It often creates awkwardness and pressure. Allowing some mystery preserves intrigue. Let closeness develop gradually. Crucially, having options isn't arrogance. A man with true prospects doesn't boast or flaunt. He doesn't need to. He's focused on his mission, his growth, and his journey. That quiet assurance is what draws people in. Honor her, but never idolize her. There's a massive gap between respecting a woman and placing her on a pedestal. Most men mix these up, and it strangles attraction every single time. Respect means you see her as a complete human. You hear her, you're considered, and you value her perspective and time. Idolization means treating her as flawless, excusing behavior you'd never accept from others. It's silently saying, I'll overlook anything because I'm infatuated. That's a trap. As the old saying goes, play the prey and you will be hunted. In romance, this is absolutely true. When you idolize a woman, you eliminate all healthy tension. Without that spark, attraction withers. Women naturally feel less pulled toward men who worship them because there's no challenge, no intrigue, no fire. Here's a clear comparison. Imagine she arrives half an hour late to your date without a text. The idolizer says, it's totally fine, don't even mention it. The man who respects himself says, my time is valuable. Please give me a heads up next time. See the difference? One is pleading for acceptance. The other states his boundary without malice or fuss. Women may not analyze this, but their nervous system registers it. Respect for your own time signals strength and reliability. Another vital point. Respect is not constant agreement. A man who never pushes back shows no core strength. Women aren't attracted to men who can't stand their ground. If you always say yes, you become predictable and fragile in their eyes. True respect also means valuing her actions and intellect, not just her appearance. Compliment her character, her smart thinking, or how she handled a difficult moment. Say, I was really impressed by how you handle that, rather than repeatedly saying, "You're so pretty." Compliments on substance carry weight because they show you see her soul, not just the surface. Finally, respect does not mean enduring poor treatment. If she acts disrespectfully, address it plainly and calmly. You could say, "That didn't sit right with me. Let's communicate better." If the pattern continues, reconsider your investment of time and energy. People respond to consequences, not bottomless patience. In essence, never idolize, but always honor. Maintain your standards, enforce your boundaries, and carry a confident energy. A man who does this becomes naturally compelling. Honor communicates that you have a spine, a strong mind, and a life of substance, qualities that are irresistibly attractive. Be surprising, not chaotic. This is a concept guys often get wrong. Many believe being surprising means acting random or confusing. That's not it. There's a huge difference between healthy unpredictability and being emotionally all over the map. Chaotic behavior is alarming. It pushes people away. It generates anxiety and kills any chance of connection. It stems from being overly reactive, letting feelings dictate everything, or shifting moods without reason. Women sense instability on a deep, subconscious level, and it flags danger. Unpredictability, however, is captivating. It's subtle, authentic, and stimulating. It keeps someone interested because they can't fully guess what comes next. The human brain notices variation, contrast, and fresh input. When a person is totally predictable, the mind files them away. Once everything is familiar, excitement dwindles, attention fades, and want decreases. Our brains are designed to focus on novelty, difference, and variety. That's why unpredictability can generate interest, spark, and curiosity without a single word. The mind craves novelty like a fire craves oxygen. The reason this works is rooted in biology. The brain releases dopamine when it encounters something new or unexpected. Dopamine fuels pleasure, drive, and focus. It's what pulls us toward stimulating experiences or people. If someone is completely predictable, their presence becomes background noise, and the brain stops that chemical response. When someone has a naturally varied energy, the mind stays engaged, trying to understand them, which keeps the spark alive over time. Being unpredictable doesn't mean lying, pretending, or scheming. It's the natural result of a life that is rich, varied, and authentic. When a man has genuine diversity in his focus, mood, and pursuits, it creates a natural sense of surprise. He might be intensely dedicated to his work one day, focused and driven, and then be lighthearted and playful the next. The variation feels real because it comes from who he is, not from a desire to control or impress. Authentic unpredictability is based in truth, not strategy. The key is balance. It keeps things exciting without causing doubt or worry. It lets you remain fascinating and engaging while still being trustworthy where it counts. It creates a feeling of freshness, anticipation, and magnetic pull. People are drawn to it instinctively because it activates curiosity and stimulates the brain's reward system. In short, unpredictability is a potent form of attraction because it keeps the mind alert and emotions engaged. It's about being fully alive, authentic, and present in your own journey, while letting others feel your vibrant energy. It's a quiet, powerful signal of strength, independence, and vitality that needs no explanation. Have a purpose bigger than her. This is a reality almost no one speaks aloud. Many men believe that devoting all their attention, effort, and focus to a woman will make her adore them more. Culture, films, and common advice often push this narrative, but in practice, it backfires. When a man makes a woman his entire world, he surrenders the very thing that fuels desire. Attraction is delicate, and it flourishes when a man has depth, direction, and autonomy. Women are pulled toward life, mission, and presence, not desperation or emptiness. The idea that a woman wants to be your everything is a myth. Most women don't want the burden of being responsible for a man's happiness. They want to join a life that already has structure, vitality, and forward motion. They are instinctively attracted to men who live fully, who have aims, and who exude purpose. A man who depends on a woman for his identity or contentment broadcasts scarcity, weakness, and need, which instantly weakens attraction. When your joy, confidence, or fulfillment is entirely tied to another person, it triggers an unconscious warning. The dynamic changes. A man becomes emotionally reliant. His energy becomes flat, and the natural tension that drives desire vanishes. A woman's intuition reads this as a lack of value. Attraction is biological, and it responds to strength, stability, and self-sufficiency. Emotional dependence signals that a man is incomplete, undermining the chemistry and power that naturally create pull. Men who have a calling, a vision, or an aim that exists separate from women are magnetic in a way that can't be imitated. Purpose creates focus. Purpose creates energy. Purpose creates presence. It communicates strength, capability, and self-regard. When a man moves through the world with clear direction, he is inherently engaging. Women notice that energy consciously or not. They feel drawn to it because it's uncommon. Most men lack it, so it stands out immediately. A fulfilling life doesn't need constant validation from others. It is complete within itself. A life filled with ambition, curiosity, tests, and personal evolution generates an aura that's impossible to ignore. It projects worth naturally, without strain or explanation. In contrast, a life centered on external approval, chasing attention, or seeking validation feels hollow, draining, and unattractive. Energy that is scattered or dependent smothers desire. Energy that is focused, directed, and independent ignites it. Truthfully, attraction isn't built by giving someone everything they ask for. It's built by being someone who already possesses what they need. Independence, purpose, and realness are signals that trigger profound interest and respect. When a man's life is full and meaningful, he radiates power. That power doesn't push others away. It invites them in. Women are naturally pulled toward it. They want to participate in a life that's vibrant, progressing, and significant. They don't want to bear the weight of someone else's emotional state. Ultimately, having a purpose beyond a woman isn't a trick. It's a reflection of reality. It's about living completely, valuing yourself, and building a life that stands firm on its own. It's about being a man whose energy and mission create natural magnetism without games, without strain, and without compromise. A full, purposeful life is magnetic. Anything less is forgettable. Be ready to leave, but stay intact. One of the most confused ideas about attraction is the capacity to remain whole even if a woman decides to go. Many men mistake this for manipulation, pride, or apathy, but it's none of those. It's about emotional fortitude and self-sufficiency. Real strength comes from stability, self-reliance, and the understanding that your world doesn't shatter if someone chooses to exit. Leaving without breaking doesn't mean making threats or stirring drama. It's not about ultimatums or trying to direct her choices. Instead, it's about your internal condition. Your peace, confidence, and sense of value are separate from any relationship. When a man is terrified of losing a woman, that fear secretly guides his behavior, his tone, and his vibe. Every gesture, word, or look can broadcast neediness, despair, or insecurity, even if he tries to mask it. This fear is detectable on a subconscious level, and women perceive it instinctively. Fear repels because it signals fragility. Desire and respect demand strength. A man who can walk away calmly shows he has limits, self-respect, and an unshakable sense of self. He isn't relying on outside approval, and he doesn't chain his happiness to anyone else's presence. This doesn't mean he's icy or unfeeling. It means his emotions are self-regulated. He values his own spirit, and knows no single person can meet every need of his life. A man like this radiates steadiness, assurance, and reliability, traits that naturally draw attention. Independence in this sense is magnetic because it signals worth. People are attracted to those who are already whole. When a man is emotionally anchored and capable of thriving solo, he becomes a source of calm, security, and fascination. Women instinctively sense the difference between a man who is dependent and one who is self-directed. The dependent man communicates doubt and scarcity, while the self-directed man communicates strength and abundance. This contrast is primal, rooted in human psychology and ancient behavior, and it drives attraction on levels beyond language. Staying emotionally non-attached to results doesn't mean shutting down feelings. It means developing a state where you can commit fully, invest passion, and care deeply without losing yourself in the process. It lets relationships evolve naturally without pressure, manipulation, or need. It keeps interactions balanced and healthy because your focus is never on controlling her, but on maintaining your own integrity and path. A calm, independent man possesses an inner security that can't be rattled. He is grounded, directed, and unafraid of the unknown. His energy is constant even when situations shift, and this stability becomes irresistible. Women feel it subconsciously, recognizing he is capable, resilient, and complete. The ability to leave intact is not a ploy. It's a reflection of self-mastery. It signals you are whole, confident, and living by your own code. In brief, power and attraction comes not from pursuing or clinging, but from cultivating a life and identity that stays strong, complete, and unshaken, no matter who comes or goes. A man who embodies this energy commands respect, kindles desire, and naturally pulls people into his sphere, not out of necessity, but because his existence is compelling and rich on its own terms. Offer warmth with discernment. One of the most effective ways to sustain attraction is by managing how and when you give your energy and care. Warmth is a form of energy that communicates affection, interest, and engagement. However, not everyone merits the same level of emotional commitment. Treating all people equally in terms of attention and kindness lessens its value and can make your energy seem common or expected. Selective warmth is about preserving equilibrium. It's a sign of self-respect, not a device for control. It signals that you prize your own energy and that your attention isn't infinite. When you give warmth to someone who honors you, adds value to your world, or shares your principles, it deepens connection and encourages mutual effort. It creates a natural sense of gratitude because your energy is meaningful, scarce, and prized. Conversely, giving equal warmth to someone who disrespects you, creates drama, or crosses your lines communicates the opposite. It lowers your perceived worth and can encourage behavior that exhausts or disrupts your life. When energy is given without judgment, it becomes predictable and loses its potency. The brain picks up on these rhythms subconsciously. People react to the flow and distribution of energy in deeply psychological ways. Your selective approach signals strength, self-knowledge, and confidence. The subtlety here is crucial. It's not about punishing others or making them feel unwelcome. Instead, it's about upholding your integrity and showing that your attention and care are earned. Energy given freely, without thought, can be squandered. Energy given intentionally builds respect, attraction, and true bond. Selective warmth also reinforces personal limits. It communicates that certain actions are acceptable while others are not, without direct confrontation or harsh language. It naturally sifts relationships, attracting those who appreciate your spirit and distancing those who don't. This method aligns with emotional intelligence, forging interactions that are healthier, more balanced, and more meaningful. Ultimately, offering warmth selectively is a sign of inner solidity. It shows you are in command of your own life, your feelings, and your focus. It enhances your presence, fortifies your relationships, and conserves your energy for those who truly deserve it. A man who masters this communicates value effortlessly, without uttering a word. His energy becomes magnetic because it is rare, deliberate, and aligned with respect for both himself and others. Hold her to your standards. One of the most crucial parts of attraction is having clear standards for who you let into your world. Standards aren't about looks or surface traits. They concern values, conduct, and character. When a man has real standards, he communicates that his time, energy, and focus are precious, and this naturally influences how others treat him. Standards demonstrate self-regard. They create a framework for relationships, clarify what's acceptable and what's not. They communicate strength without conceit. When someone respects these boundaries, it signals harmony and shared ideals. When someone fails to meet them, it reveals their true worth to your investment of spirit and attention. A man without standards sends the opposite message. He becomes easy to sway, easy to use, and easy to disregard. In such cases, attraction fades because scarcity and value disappear. Standards target deeper qualities. They reflect how a person manages difficulties, interacts with the world, and respects your priorities. For instance, do they treat people with kindness even when it's not convenient? Do they keep their word and honor boundaries? Do they add positivity to your days? Or do they generate unnecessary stress and chaos? These are the markers that separate someone worth your time from someone who drains your spirit. Women, whether aware or not, respond to these signals. When a man communicates that his attention is earned, his energy is meaningfully scarce, and it naturally triggers longing. Having standards also boosts your own confidence. When you won't accept anything less than what matches your values, you're less likely to endure disrespect, manipulation, or turmoil. This doesn't mean being inflexible or unkind. It means knowing what's healthy, valuable, and compatible with your path. People respond to clarity and consistency. They are drawn to someone who knows their worth and maintains it without doubt. The power of standards lies in their subtle influence. They create a natural hierarchy of value in interactions, encouraging others to rise to meet it. They foster respect, consistency, and genuine intention. When someone knows they must earn your attention, it sparks motivation, consideration, and care. Attraction grows because effort feels significant and energy is acknowledged. Ultimately, standards aren't about controlling others. They're about steering your life with integrity, protecting your spirit, and aligning relationships with your core values. A man who lives this communicates worth without effort. He doesn't need to argue or demand. It's evident in his presence, his decisions, and the way he allows people into his life. Standards make a man magnetic because they reflect self-respect, clarity, and the courage to uphold his own boundaries. Don't hurry to resolve every disagreement. Many men err by trying to fix every conflict instantly. They dread tension, fret about being unwanted, and crave immediate harmony. This urge for quick fixes often springs from insecurity and emotional neediness. Weak men feel discomfort as a threat, so they scramble to erase it. But this approach usually diminishes respect and weakens attraction because it signals desperation. Strong men manage conflict differently. They understand that friction is normal and that not every issue demands an instant solution. By permitting space, they allow both people time to think, relax, and process emotions. Space fosters perspective and clear thinking. It lets feelings settle and understanding to emerge. When a man resists the impulse to chase quick peace, he communicates patience, confidence, and emotional steadiness. This method often leads to superior outcomes. When space is granted, a woman can consider her own actions, recognize limits, and appreciate the man's viewpoint. The result is frequently a deeper admiration for his poise and leadership. Desire and respect increase because she sees he is stable, controlled, and self-sufficient. The energy of the connection stays balanced, and the bond strengthens organically. Not rushing to mend every rift isn't about being cold or detached. It's about valuing your own emotional well-being and keeping your integrity. It signals that your worth isn't linked to instant approval or temporary quiet. A man who embodies this calm and patience becomes magnetic because his presence communicates strength, clarity, and emotional intelligence without needing to prove anything. Treat her the way you treat yourself. This is the single strongest rule in relationships. Women don't fall in love merely with how a man treats them. What forges deep, lasting attraction is how a man treats himself while treating her with honor. Self-respect, personal limits, and high standards are magnetic because they show a man prizes his own life and energy above all. When a man honors his own needs, keeps his dignity whole, and won't bend his principles, it sends an unmistakable signal. A woman senses it immediately. It communicates strength, stability, and authenticity. She sees he is rooted, complete, and not relying on her approval for his worth. This creates an energy that's impossible to resist because it is rare and utterly confident. The way you treat yourself sets the price for your attention. Standard for yourself, not just for her, are what fuel genuine respect and desire. If a man abandons his values, tolerates disrespect, or sacrifices his integrity for affection, it weakens attraction. Conversely, a man who treats himself with care, maintains his personal boundaries, and holds his existence in high regard naturally commands notice and esteem. Mastery over oneself is mastery over one's life. A man who governs his thoughts, feelings, and actions is someone whose presence is potent. He doesn't react from fear, need, or insecurity. Instead, he engages from a place of confidence and purpose. This energy communicates abundance, freedom, and realness. Women are drawn not only to how he treats them, but to how he carries himself independent of anyone else's influence. In essence, self-respect is the bedrock of all attraction. A man who treats himself with integrity while treating others well creates an undeniable pull. His energy becomes scarce, his presence commanding, and his life fascinating. Attraction isn't constructed through charm alone. It's built through the way a man honors himself and his own standards while moving through the world. Final thoughts. This knowledge holds real power. You can misuse it to deceive or use it to genuinely improve. Choose to build yourself first. Become a person you truly admire. When you do that, these behaviors won't feel like tactics. They'll be second nature. If this resonated with you, hit the like button and subscribe to Winds of Thought. Stay tuned, because in the next video, we'll break down the subtle signals a woman gives when she's losing respect for you and how to turn it around before it's too late. Remember, the man who commands his own mind commands his future. Everything else follows from there.